Could be me and you sitting across from each other. Maybe
okay, let's say I'm holding the E-meter. What are you doing, and what is that E-meter doing? What is it capable of doing?
Okay, what it is capable of doing is registering what's bothering you. It is a guide. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't yell out. Well, it's a meter there, and it sends a little electrical flow through your body. You're holding something there, very tiny. You cannot feel it. It shows a reaction. What does that reaction mean? That reaction just says there's a reaction. You thought something about it, or it's something that has some form of mental energy.
Reaction to what? You're saying words, and it's almost like free association. Or I mean, what am I reacting
Listen,
to?
Stop comparing it to psychotherapy because it isn't.
I'm just asking.
And by the way, okay, there are a million things you could do, but you take up an individual subject of a person's life. I'll bring up the subject of communication. If that isn't you, fine. People do have problems with this subject. Very specific questions are asked. The person answers them. He looks, answers the question, answers it. To handle areas of upset that are upsetting him, he knows when they are no longer upsetting him. He finds out finally for himself why they were upsetting him, and they no longer do. That is what's happening.
What I'm still a little bit lost on is, presumably, you and I could do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right now, right?
Well, you'd have to want to participate.
Fine. But why do we need that piece of equipment?
Oh, because it's far more accurate. I mean, originally in Dianetics and Scientology, there was no meter, and you would look at a person.
What is the
you would look at a person. I'll tell you.
Because I'm looking at a needle sweeping across.
Okay, you would look at the person. You would look at the person and hear something similar. I can see your face flush, or I can see you cry, or I can see you smile. You can observe people, right? Well, not many people have an ability to do that, and plus that is pretty crude. What this does is when there is an area of upset, it registers. That's all it does. When the area of upset no longer exists, it doesn't register. That's all it does. It is strictly a guide.
And what is the
communication is taking place between you and I? You see, we're in there together. I'm asking something about you. You're interested in finding out something about yourself. I'm there to help you find that. But I'll tell you, here's where else we differ from psychotherapy, psychology. Those people would tell you, this is your problem. That's a pretty arrogant position to take, for that person to tell you what's going on, considering every individual on this planet is different. Scientology, we show you a way to find out for yourself. And do you know who knows when you found out? You do. And if this still doesn't make sense to you, that's because you haven't done it. I can't be more clear. First principle in Scientology, by the way, Ted, you should understand is, in studying the subject or practicing it, never, ever, ever believe it just because we say it's so. Only once you have experienced it yourself and you find this concept to be true, should you then consider it to be true.
Could you, just on the most basic level, I mean, you say originally it was done without the E-meter anyway. Could you, on the most basic level, do it with me right now?
No, absolutely not, because we're not in an environment here that is conducive to all the elements of auditing.
Right. I'm perfectly comfortable here.
Well, here's why. Because you're the interviewer here on the program,
right,
and you're the one who's in charge here on the program, and you're interested in doing a program. That instantly throws out the first 3 rudiments to doing this. It's not something.
Fair enough.
As a matter of fact...
I buy that. That's fair enough. One of the other ways, if you're not going to use the E-meter, though, Forrest also showed some of the people working with what? Plasticine?
Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, there's a sort of misconception that comes out. That's part of the study technology of Scientology. There's a study technology developed by L. Ron Hubbard. He isolated the 3 barriers to study. This is a technology that helps you study any subject. One of those is not having the mass in front of you. I'll give you an example.
Not having the what?
The mass of an object that you're studying in front of you. A good example, here we are in a studio and we have cameras all over the place. Imagine you were going to school when you were 15 and you're studying up on cameras and you've never seen one, okay? You wouldn't really quite understand it too well. It'd be better if you had the camera there that you could do it with. Taking something more crude than that, where we're not talking about electronics in any given area of study, the ability to demonstrate in clay a concept in the paragraph allows you to gain a greater understanding of that subject. This is something that he asked me about in the intro. There was a piece on it. But generally what people do is they'll be studying materials, and then they will see if they really understand it by demonstrating it in this clay. And if they can make a 3-dimensional figure of it, it often serves to clarify that concept and also show whether they understand it or not. And it's part of a study program. It's not a process of Scientology. We're not looking to make people better with this. It's strictly a way of studying.
Why is it necessary in order to progress? I mean, some of the sums that are charged, and I literally don't have them, it's not something I've tucked away in my memory, but we're talking about, in some instances, to move from one level to the next level, $7,000, $10,000, $15,000, huge sums. Why?
Yeah, well, okay, number one, we certainly do have a different donation system than other churches, although not all other churches.
Donation.
Yeah,
you call it a donation.
Oh, absolutely, because there's people that are donating to the church, period.
I understand, but are there people there who are making that progress? I mean, what, again, to get back to the person who doesn't have any money, what does he or she do?
He trains in the subject of Scientology. He can then audit somebody else, and he can be audited by that person, and that's free. You see, people like to pull out the sexy part. I'd like to point out, Ted, the people that are complaining about it in your intro, the one girl there that was complaining about it, a girl named Vicky Azaran, which, by the way, this is a girl who was kicked out for trying to bring criminals into the church.
I think I mean, you say a girl, I think we're talking about a grown woman, right?
A grown woman, excuse me.
I mean,
a lady, Vicky Azaran.
And you and she were at one point rivals for the leadership?
Absolutely not. Yeah? Absolutely not. I have no idea where Forrest got that from. Absolutely not. She violated the mores and codes of the group. She was removed for it. I was a trustee of that corporation. She knows it.